we're going to be looking at the animation iteration count property and the animation direction property. The reason that we'll be covering both of these together is because they kind of work in conjunction to each other. They're not that exciting by themselves. Let's talk about animation iteration count first. This property is used to specify the number of times that an animation cycle is played before the animation stops. The default value is 1, meaning that the animation is going to play from the beginning to the end 1 time. The file that we're going to be working on is something that you should be familiar with. We have our 6 circles. They move to the right side of the screen while scaling and their opacity changes. I'm going to go into the unique classes and I'm going to add the animation iteration count. And for the first one, we're going to tell it to play 3 times. You can just plug in any sort of value and the animation will play that number of times. For the second one, I'm going to set it to animation iteration count of infinite, which is another option that you have. This will just repeat the animation over and over again. So when we play the animation, the first circle is going to play the animation 3 times. So that's the second one. Here's the third one, and then it's going to stop. The green circle, however, is going to continue to play for forever. So it's just going to play infinitely. Now, that's pretty straightforward. All you do is plug in the number of times that you want the animation to play or tell it to play for an infinite amount of time. So let's talk now about the animation direction property. This property specifies whether or not an animation should play in reverse on some or all cycles or iterations. Let me show you what this looks like by itself. We're going to go ahead and we're going to pass in the animation direction property, and we have 4 keywords that we can use: alternate, alternate reverse, reverse, and normal. Now normal is just going to play as the default behavior of the animation plays. So it doesn't really matter if we put that in there or not. We could put the animation direction here and add the property of normal, but it's not going to change anything. So just keep in mind that we have on the third circle alternate, alternate reverse, reverse, and normal. If I play now, you'll notice that the 4th and 5th circles start from the right-hand side of the screen. So they're actually playing in the reverse direction. So what these means are that reverse is going to affect all iterations of the animation, and they're simply going to be played in the reverse direction from the way they were specified. So that is that the animation is going to proceed from the end of the animation and it's going to play backwards to the beginning. It's as if the keyframe values were specified in the reverse order. The alternate reverse value is going to affect the animation cycle that are the odd counts, and it's going to play them in the reverse direction. So in this situation, since the animation here is only playing 1 time, that counts as an odd number. So it's going to play the odd number in the reverse direction, which is why these 2 circles play in the reverse direction. The reason that alternate is not working at all is because this animation cycle is going to play the odd counts in the normal direction, and then the animation cycle iterations that are even are going to be played in the reverse direction. So again, since this one only plays 1 time, we never get to that even number, so it never plays in reverse on the even number. Normal is simply saying that the animations are going to be played as specified. So that means when the first animation cycle is finished, the animation was going to jump back to the beginning and start over from there. And it's affecting this in the way that it would normally play. So as I mentioned, the animation direction and animation iteration count really do affect the items concurrently in most cases. So I'm going to add animation iteration count to all of the elements that have the animation direction. And I'll just have these all play 3 times. So now, if I add 3 into these last 4 elements, you're going to see that we do get a different sort of animation playing. And actually, let's just put some numbers into our spheres so we can identify these by numbers instead of just with the colors. So I'm just going to add some numeric values to these. Just add a couple of rules to center align the text somewhat. So that looks a little bit better, but now you can actually see the text. So what I want to be showing you here is that if we look at the settings that we have on our circles, the first circle has an iteration count of 3. So it's just going to play 3 times. And you can see that it boings back to the first position and just is going to play from that position. It's just playing in the normal way. The second circle is just going to repeat over and over again, so we can ignore that. It doesn't have any sort of animation direction applied. The third circle, however, has the animation iteration count of 3, and we have it set to alternate. So alternate is going to play the odd counts in the normal direction, and the animation cycle iterations that are even are going to be played in a reverse direction. So the first cycle is going to play from the beginning, and then if you keep your eye on 3, you'll see that it goes back on the even to its original place, and then it goes back out again. So the even cycle is playing backwards, and that's what alternate is allowing it to do. Now I want you to just keep an eye on the orange circle, number 4. This is playing using alternate reverse. So when we first click this, you can see that the animation cycle on the odd counts are going to be played in the reverse direction. The even ones are played normally. So the very first time I play my page, first one is reversed, the even one plays normally, and then the third one is going to play in reverse again. Now our fifth one is using a straight reverse. So once again, it just starts at the reverse direction, and it just boings over to the right-hand side. So it never animates from the left to the right. It simply is always going to start from the right-hand side. It's just a straight reverse direction that the animation is playing. And then finally, the sixth circle, the one that's purple, that's just playing in the normal way. So it just plays from left to right, it boings back to the left, and then plays the animation 3 times, just going in one direction. So as you can see, when you use iteration in conjunction with direction, you can have animations that play endlessly. If I was to apply an animation direction to the element that has the infinite animation iteration count, then it would just play back and forth, back and forth, back and forth forever. So the second circle, the green one, is now simply going to play from left to right and then right to left, and it will continue to do that for as long as the page is open. It also is worth noting that when you play animations in reverse, the timing functions are also reversed. So in our example, we're not using any sort of timing function, but for instance, if I did use a timing function of ease in, it would actually be an ease out if the element was specified as having an animation direction of reverse. So by using these two properties together, you can create a more complex method of animating certain properties and also have animations repeat their behavior multiple times and go from the starting point of the animation to the ending point and just cycle through and repeat that multiple times.